and just possibly lead you to
Dio. Ma allora you should have just run away.
NYC.
Life, it's all you have.
One of reflective contemplation.
Professional courtesy.
You know, they put it in. Does you know my man?
so. Yeah.
Hey guys, today we're diving back into the stylish, brutal world of John Wick with Chapter 2. Our story kicks off right where the first film conceptually left us, with John still rocking that sharp suit, needing to retrieve his beloved 1969 Mustang. Affectionately known as the Beast, he tracks it down to a chop shop run by Abram Tarasov, Isov's uncle, which, let's be honest, sounds like a family reunion no one wants to attend. What follows is a magnificent symphony of vehicular mayhem and close-quarters combat. John, ever the eloquent negotiator, prefers to let his fists and the car itself do the talking, smashing through walls and bodies with a casual expertise that would make most stunt coordinators weep. It's a beautifully choreographed mess, with the crack of bones and the crunch of metal echoing through the warehouse. He takes down an entire crew with a finesse that screams I was retired. But this car really ticked me off after a final bone-shattering brawl with Abram's main enforcer. John has his car back, battered but undeniably his. He then makes peace with Abram, burying the hatchet with a shared bottle of vodka, essentially saying, let's not do this again, okay? This is a passion project for me, and a like or a subscribe is the best way to show your support. So if you're on board, join the crew. If not, thanks for watching anyway. Back home, John is trying to fix the bullet holes and general chaos that is his living space, a task almost as daunting as fighting an army of assassins, probably. Just when you think he might actually get a moment's peace, because apparently the universe hates him, a very unwelcome blast from the past shows up. Enter Santino D'Antonio, looking impeccably dressed and smelling faintly of trouble. Santino isn't just dropping by for a cup of tea. He's here to cash in a blood oath marker. Apparently, John owed him a favor, a big one, from way back when Santino helped John achieve the impossible task that allowed him to retire. The weight of that marker is a palpable thing, a tangible debt that hangs heavy in the air. John, understandably, is not thrilled. He's trying to live a quiet life with his new dog. Remember? The look on his face is priceless, a mixture of "are you serious right now?" and "I really thought I was out." He reminds Santino that he is retired, a concept that, in the Wickverse, seems to be more of a suggestion than a hard rule. Santino, however, isn't taking no for an answer, his smile thin and chilling, indicating he knows exactly how much leverage he has. It's a classic power play, the kind that makes your skin crawl. And you just know it's not going to end well. John, being John, tries to stand his ground, reminding Santino that he's out, he's done. He's basically allergic to more violence. He slams the door on Santino, a move that clearly communicates, "You're not getting my good china, and you're definitely not getting my retirement." But Santino D'Antonio isn't the kind of guy who just shrugs and walks away. Oh no, he's the kind of guy who, when told no, interprets it as "please detonate my house" with extreme prejudice, and that's precisely what he does. With a casual flick of the wrist and the subtle thud of a grenade launcher, because subtlety is his middle name, Santino blows John's house into a spectacular inferno. The explosion is huge, loud, and frankly, a bit over the top for a debt collection, but hey, when in Rome, or rather, when in New York, right? John barely escapes the fiery demise of his home, clutching his adorable pit bull. The irony is palpable. John got his car back only to lose his entire house minutes later. Santino's message is crystal clear: honor the marker or lose everything, including, presumably, his dog's favorite chew toy. It's a scorched earth policy, literally, leaving John with nothing but the clothes on his back, his dog, and an unfulfilled blood oath that suddenly feels a lot more urgent. With his house now a rather artistic pile of rubble, John does what any sensible legendary assassin would do. He heads to the Continental Hotel, seeking counsel from its enigmatic manager, Winston. The Continental, as we know, is neutral ground, a safe haven where business is conducted, but no blood is spilled. Winston, in his usual calm and collected demeanor, explains the gravity of the situation. He outlines the High Table's immutable rules, specifically the sanctity of the blood oath marker. It's not just a fancy coin. It's a sacred bond, a promise made and paid for, and it must be honored. Winston's explanation is delivered with a paternalistic sternness, emphasizing that defying the marker isn't just rude. It's an act of war against the very foundation of their clandestine society. The atmosphere in the Continental Lounge is thick with unspoken rules and traditions, the clinking of ice against glass the only sound breaking the tension. He tells John that refusing Santino would essentially be a death wish, not just for him, but for anyone who dared to aid him. So the message is clear: John is back in the game, whether he likes it or not. The world's most reluctant boogeyman has a new target, and he's not getting out of this one without getting his hands very, very dirty. The weight of the world, or at least the assassin world, visibly settles on John's shoulders, a grim acceptance of his fate, with his mission reluctantly accepted. John travels to Rome because apparently even assassins need a change of scenery, and Italy is just so much more stylish for murder. This segment is a fan favorite, showcasing the elaborate and specialized services available to those in the High Table's orbit. First up, the tailor, played by the fantastic Franco Nero. It's not just a suit. It's a bespoke, bulletproof masterpiece designed for maximum impact, both literally and figuratively. Tactical, high collar, 2 button, John requests, because even when you're about to unleash mayhem, you still need to look sharp. Then, John visits the sommelier, who, instead of recommending a fine Chianti, offers an exquisite selection of high-powered weaponry. Each gun is described with the reverence usually reserved for vintage wines, a delightful touch of dark humor that punctuates the scene. What about an AR-15? John asks. No, a Taran Tactical TR-1, a more appropriate vintage. The sommelier replies, highlighting the precision and deadliness of John's tools. Finally, he meets a cartographer who provides detailed blueprints of his target's location, the catacombs beneath Rome, because apparently assassinations these days require architectural degrees. It's a fantastic sequence that blends the mundane with the deadly, showing the professional, almost ritualistic preparation that goes into John's work, making him look like he's gearing up for a very formal, very violent gala. John's target is revealed, John D'Antonio, Santino's sister. The political dynamics here are thick enough to cut with a butter knife. Santino wants his sister out of the high table, and he's using John to do his dirty work, effectively cleaning up his family tree with a very sharp blade. John infiltrates a swanky art exhibition where Jonna is holding court, an elegant queen in a dangerous game. The scene is a masterclass in tension as John moves through the opulent crowd, his eyes scanning, his senses heightened. He's a predator in plain sight, blending in yet utterly distinct. The silence is punctuated by the hushed whispers of art enthusiasts and the distant, almost ceremonial clinking of champagne glasses, contrasting sharply with the violent purpose John carries. He observes Jonna, studying her movements, her security detail, and the intricate layout of the venue. The weight of his obligation presses down, but also the grim satisfaction of a professional about to execute a difficult job. This isn't personal, not yet anyway, but it's business, and John Wick is nothing if not a man of his word, even when that word spells doom for someone else. It's the calm before the storm, a quiet observation that promises a very loud and explosive resolution, asterisk the moment of truth arrives at a lavish Roman bathhouse, where Jonna is enjoying a very private, very exposed moment. John, ever the gentleman, crashes the party, but not without a touch of grim courtesy. He finds Jonna in what looks like a ridiculously fancy sauna, surrounded by her bodyguards who, to be fair, put up a decent fight. But decent isn't really a match for John Wick. The sounds of splashes and muffled grunts fill the humid air. Jonna, surprisingly, doesn't beg or plead. Instead, she chooses a form of defiance, taking her own life with a shard of glass, slitting her wrists in a desperate act of control, choosing how she dies, not if. It's a chilling, almost Shakespearean moment, emphasizing the brutal code these characters live by. However, John, ever the professional, fulfills his end of the bargain. He fires a single, fatal shot to her head, ensuring her death is directly attributed to him, thus officially marking her and completing his oath to Santino. The cold click of the hammer, followed by the muffled thud, marks the end of Jonna and the beginning of John's next nightmare. It's a somber, brutal act, devoid of emotion, highlighting the grim reality of his world. He's not a monster, but he's bound by monstrous obligations. No sooner has John completed his mission than he's immediately ambushed by Castian, Jonna's loyal and very upset chief bodyguard. Castian is not just angry, he's absolutely livid, seeing John as the direct cause of his boss's demise. And to be fair, he's not wrong. What follows is an absolutely epic, brutal, and frankly, balletic fight sequence in the Roman catacombs. Imagine fighting a super ninja in a centuries-old underground labyrinth. Sounds like a fun Tuesday, right? The two exchange blows with incredible ferocity, each punch and kick landing with a sickening thud that practically echoes in the ancient stone tunnels. The sound design here is immaculate, every strained grunt and impact amplified, making you feel every painful exchange. They grapple, they roll, they slam each other into sarcophagi, which, side note, must be terrible for historical preservation. It's a mutual respect kind of fight, where both combatants are clearly masters of their craft, but only one can walk away, or rather, get stabbed in the shoulder. The choreography is top-notch, emphasizing realism and raw power. This isn't just a slugfest, it's a desperate dance of death, showcasing their unparalleled skills and their deeply personal motivations. Eventually, John gains the upper hand, but instead of killing Cassian, he leaves him with a knife plunged into his shoulder. A polite reminder that he's still a professional, and maybe he'll need a ride later. Barely having a moment to catch his breath, John finds himself with a price on his head, courtesy of Santino, who's now trying to tie up loose ends, specifically the John Wick-shaped loose end. The streets of Rome transform into a deadly gauntlet. This is where the movie truly leans into its everyone is an assassin vibe. Suddenly, every random pedestrian, every street vendor, every person casually sipping espresso seems to be a highly trained killer with an alarming proficiency for firearms. The soundscape here shifts from the echoing thuds of the catacombs to the rapid-fire staccato of gunfire and the whizzing of bullets. John is relentless, weaving through the bustling Roman crowds, using them as cover, or sometimes, unfortunately, as human shields. The gun-fu is exquisite, a seamless blend of martial arts and precision shooting. He's ducking, weaving, reloading, and firing with an almost supernatural efficiency. Cars crash, civilians scream briefly before becoming collateral damage in the background, and John just keeps moving, an unstoppable force against an overwhelming tide. He uses a pen, a pencil, probably a stray noodle if he found one, to incapacitate his attackers. It's a thrilling, non-stop sequence that firmly establishes the scale of the threat against him and solidifies his reputation as the boogeyman even the boogeyman fear. This escape isn't just about survival. It's about proving that even with the whole world against him, John Wick is still the deadliest man alive, just when you thought Rome couldn't get any deadlier. John Wick finds himself on a packed subway car, only to be rejoined by his new frenemy, Cassian, who, surprisingly, is still alive and even angrier. This fight scene is a masterclass in tension and controlled violence. They engage in a brutal, almost intimate knife fight, a ballet of blades and bodies, all while trying their absolute best not to alarm the other oblivious passengers. Imagine trying to stab someone repeatedly while pretending to be just two guys having a very enthusiastic argument about taxes. The close quarters amplify every grunt, every metallic clang of their knives, every strained breath. The absurdity of their silent, deadly dance amidst ordinary commuters creates a darkly comedic undertone. They're wrestling, parrying, and subtly trying to disembowel each other, all within inches of people scrolling on their phones or trying to read their books. It's incredibly impressive choreography, showcasing their exceptional control and discipline. John eventually gets the upper hand, once again leaving Cassian incapacitated but alive, this time with a knife neatly lodged in his aorta, a thoughtful little parting gift. He specifically tells him to sleep tight, which, for an assassin, is practically a lullaby. It's a testament to the code they live by. They're enemies, but they also share a twisted sense of professionalism and a touch of mutual respect. Plus, who wants to explain a full-on shootout on a packed subway? Talk about a social fox pause. John makes it back to New York, probably hoping for a nice, quiet pizza slice. Fat chance! The moment he steps back into the city that never sleeps, his phone starts buzzing like a swarm of angry bees. Turns out, Santino has decided to upgrade John's wanted status from mildly problematic to every assassin's retirement plan. The bounty on his head has reached an absolutely staggering $7 million, and it's active globally. This is where the High Table's extensive network truly shines, or rather, terrifyingly glows. Images of John Wick, complete with his contract details, are being broadcast on every public screen imaginable, Times Square billboards, personal cell phones. Even a giant video wall in Grand Central Station. It's a digital manhunt on an unprecedented scale. The sounds of constant notifications and the frantic energy of the city transform into an omnipresent threat. Every face in the crowd becomes a potential assassin, every shadow a hiding place for a killer. John is visibly overwhelmed, the weight of the entire underworld bearing down on him. He knows that every professional, every wannabe, every hitman with a pulse is now looking for him. It's a grim realization that his world just got a whole lot smaller and a whole lot deadlier. His solitude is shattered, replaced by the crushing awareness that there is nowhere left to hide. And just like that, the hunt is on. Grand Central Station, usually a bustling hub of commuters, transforms into a deadly arena. John is immediately swarmed, but he's not just fighting. He's improvising, using the environment to his advantage, because apparently public transportation is just another weapon in his arsenal. The sounds of ricocheting bullets and muffled gunshots blend with the chaotic chatter of the station, creating a frantic, disorienting symphony of violence. He's ducking behind pillars, using fellow assassins as impromptu cover, and disarming opponents with a terrifying efficiency. It's a relentless sequence of gunfu and close-quarters combat, highlighting John's resourcefulness. He's not just shooting. He's thinking, adapting, surviving. This isn't about elegant choreography anymore. It's about pure, unadulterated survival against impossible odds. The sheer number of attackers is overwhelming, yet John moves through them with a cold, precise focus. The sequence is punctuated by quick, brutal kills, a testament to his desperation and skill. He's running, hiding, and fighting through the very fabric of everyday life, showcasing how deeply the underworld has infiltrated society. It's a thrilling, pulse-pounding chase that leaves you breathless, wondering how one man can possibly take on an entire city of killers and live to tell the tale. Spoiler, he mostly does, realizing he's up against literally everyone. John takes a detour from the high table's pristine world and plunges into the grittier underbelly of the assassin network. He seeks out the Bowery King, a charismatic and somewhat eccentric figure who rules over a vast network of homeless informers, or pigeons, as he affectionately calls them. The King's lair is a stark contrast to the opulence of the Continental, a raw, utilitarian space beneath the city, filled with the sounds of printing presses and hushed conversations. He's like a medieval spy master with a modern twist, dispensing information for a price. John, ever the pragmatist, barters a favor for information on Santino's location, a promise that will undoubtedly come back to haunt someone, probably Santino. The King, played with delightful swagger by Lawrence Fishburne, offers John a brief respite and a much-needed weapon, a bespoke Glock with a few extra bells and whistles. Because even underground kings appreciate good craftsmanship, their interaction is a fascinating glimpse into the broader, more stratified world of assassins, proving that even the most powerful figures rely on the lowliest of eyes and ears. It's a pivotal moment, showing that John isn't just a lone wolf. He has allies, albeit reluctant and highly pragmatic ones, who operate outside the high table's direct gaze. The King's dry wit and John's grim determination make for a compelling exchange, hinting at future collaborations. Armed with intel from the Bowery King, John tracks Santino to another extravagant art exhibition. Because these guys clearly have a thing for fancy galleries and fine art. This particular exhibition is a visual spectacle, a literal glass house filled with reflective surfaces and delicate sculptures, making it a nightmare for anyone trying to maintain tactical superiority, but a dream for filmmakers. John initiates his assault, plunging into a whirlwind of gunfire and shattered glass. The sounds are sharp, echoing, and piercing, the crack of bullets, the tinkling of breaking glass, the grunts of impact. It's a visually stunning but utterly chaotic environment, where reflections can be as deadly as actual enemies. He's moving with a desperate ferocity, each kill precise and brutal. Santino's elite guards, including the formidable R's, his mute chief bodyguard, are equally determined, leading to some truly breathtaking exchanges. The choreography is fantastic, leveraging the environment to create unique and dynamic combat scenarios. Imagine trying to fight when every direction gives you a distorted reflection of your enemy. Talk about a headache. John is a wrecking ball in a china shop, but a highly skilled, glass-shattering wrecking ball. This isn't just a fight. It's an art installation of violence, where every shattered pane adds to the dramatic tension. He's taking names, kicking butt, and generally making a mess of what was probably a very expensive exhibit, all to get to one man who dared to blow up his house. Priorities, right? The chase culminates in a truly iconic sequence, a futuristic, mind-bending mirror maze. It's like a funhouse of death, where every reflection is a potential killer, and every killer is a reflection. John pursues Santino into this dazzling labyrinth, only to be confronted by Santino's mute but incredibly deadly chief bodyguard. Their fight here is a masterclass in visual storytelling and unique choreography. The sounds are muffled, disorienting, with the impact of punches and the slashes of knives echoing eerily through the reflective surfaces. It's hard to tell what's real and what's a reflection, a tactical nightmare for John, but a visual feast for us. Communicating through sign language and a terrifying smirk, is a worthy adversary, agile and brutal. John, battered and bruised, uses every trick in his arsenal, every ounce of his legendary skill, to navigate this treacherous environment. The fight is intense, intimate, and deeply personal, culminating in a vicious knife fight. John eventually gains the upper hand, dispatching Ars with a chilling efficiency because apparently, even silence can't save you from John Wick. Her final words, signed, are a defiant, be seeing you. A chilling promise that the underworld never truly lets anyone go. It's a spectacular, high-stakes duel that combines psychological warfare with brutal physicality, leaving John one step closer to his ultimate target, but one step further from any semblance of peace, wounded, exhausted, and covered in blood that probably isn't all his. John escapes the mirror maze, having eliminated Ars, but not before sustaining some serious damage. He makes a desperate dash for the one place he knows he'll be safe, at least temporarily, the Continental Hotel. The sounds of distant sirens and the frantic energy of the city gradually fade as he approaches the hotel, a beacon of neutrality in his chaotic world. The stark contrast between the brutal streets and the opulent, quiet lobby of the Continental is striking. As he enters, he's barely holding himself together, a testament to the sheer brutality of his ordeal. The manager, Winston, observes him with a knowing, almost sympathetic gaze, understanding the depth of his suffering and the impossible situation he's in. However, the momentary relief is short-lived. John spots Santino D'Antonio casually sipping a drink at the Continental bar, completely at ease, enjoying the absolute immunity offered by the hotel's sacred ground. The sight ignites a cold, simmering fury in John, turning his exhaustion into a dangerous resolve. Santino's arrogant confidence, his smug certainty that he's untouchable, acts like a red flag to a very angry bull. John has honored his marker, but Santino has now crossed a line that even the high table might struggle to forgive. The air crackles with unspoken tension. A calm before an inevitable, rule-breaking storm, Santino, with a smirk that practically screams, "I'm untouchable," continues to taunt John from his safe perch at the Continental bar. He's gloating, openly celebrating his victory and the effectiveness of his manipulation, completely secure in the knowledge that no blood can be spilled on Continental ground. His casual sips of scotch and his arrogant posture are like a slow-motion punch to John's already bruised soul. The hushed clinking of glasses and low jazz music of the bar create a deceptively peaceful backdrop to Santino's venomous words. He's rubbing John's nose in it, enjoying the absolute power he holds over him, mocking him for fulfilling the very contract that led to John's current predicament. He thanks John for taking care of Jonna, twisting the knife even deeper, acknowledging his own treachery with a chilling lack of remorse. John stands there, a coiled spring of suppressed rage, his eyes burning with an almost feral intensity. Every fiber of his being screams for revenge, but the unyielding rules of the high table, enforced by Winston, hold him back. It's a tortuous standoff, a battle of wills between the schemer and the unstoppable force, made even more agonizing by the proximity and untouchability of the target. This moment is the crescendo of John's frustration, the breaking point where tradition and code are about to collide head-on with raw, unadulterated vengeance. And then, in a moment that sent collective gasps through every theater and living room, John Wick breaks the unbreakable rule. The tension, the mockery, the sheer audacity of Santino's presence proved too much. With a decisive, almost agonizingly slow movement, John pulls out his trusty pistol. The sudden click of the hammer, usually a harbinger of external chaos, now signals an internal earthquake. The atmosphere in the bar freezes. The jazz music seems to stop. The clinking of glass is silenced. Winston's stern, warning voice cuts through the stunned silence, reiterating the sacred nature of the Continental grounds. But John is beyond reason, beyond rules. His eyes lock onto Santino, who, for the first time, looks genuinely terrified. Santino's smug facade shatters, replaced by a desperate, panicked fear. With a single, brutal, and utterly final gunshot, a sharp, decisive crack that reverberates through the elegant space, John shoots Santino D'Antonio directly in the head. The impact is visceral, loud, and shocking. Santino slumps over, dead, his blood staining the pristine marble floor of the Continental. The silence that follows is deafening, heavy with the weight of the broken oath, the violated sanctuary. John has chosen vengeance over everything, sacrificing his standing, his safety, and his very future in the assassin world. It's a moment of profound consequence, changing everything, and setting the stage for what comes next. Talk about a dramatic exit. The consequences for John's rather impulsive decision to turn the Continental into a personal execution chamber are swift and severe. Winston, embodying the cold, unyielding justice of the high table, meets John in Central Park, the serene park setting, with the sounds of distant city life and rustling leaves, provides a stark contrast to the grim pronouncement that's about to shatter John's world. Winston formally declares John excommunicado. It's not just a fancy word. It's a death sentence, a complete severing from the assassin network. All his privileges are revoked, access to Continental services, protection, and most importantly, any claim to neutrality. His membership is rescinded, his name struck from the ledger. Adding insult to existential injury, Winston also puts a $14 million contract on his head, globally. This isn't just a bounty. It's an announcement to every single assassin on the planet that John Wick is fair game, no questions asked. Winston, with a mix of regret and unwavering duty, gives John a 1-hour head start, a small, almost meaningless courtesy in the face of such overwhelming odds. He delivers the chilling line, "The high table wants your head, John," before activating the global contract. The sound of countless phones buzzing as the contract is distributed worldwide is a terrifying symphony, signaling the end of John's solitary war and the beginning of a true global conflict. John is now truly alone, an outcast with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide, a man with a target painted squarely on his back. With the clock ticking down, John Wick and his loyal canine companion walk away from Winston into the heart of New York City. The scene is incredibly tense, almost poetic in its grim finality. As John walks, the sounds of everyday life morph into something sinister. You see it subtly at first, then more overtly, people on their phones, looking at screens that clearly display John's face, his contract, and the astronomical bounty. The subtle ding of notifications, multiplying exponentially, becomes the terrifying soundtrack to his excommunication. Every single person in his vicinity, every passing car, every shadowy doorway, now holds a potential threat. The gravity of Winston's declaration truly sinks in here. John isn't just a wanted man. He's the most wanted man on the planet, a walking, breathing cash prize. The final shot is powerful. John, with his dog beside him, walking into the anonymous crowd, knowing that every face is now an enemy, every shadow a potential killer. The vastness of the city, once a place of relative anonymity, now feels like an inescapable cage. It's a brilliant cliffhanger, leaving us with a sense of dread and excitement for the inevitable, all-out war that is about to commence. He has chosen his path, and now he must face the consequences, alone against the world. What a way to end a chapter, leaving us all desperate for more. And so, our journey through John Wick, Chapter 2 concludes, not with a tidy resolution, but with a powerful cliffhanger that thrusts our hero into an even more precarious existence. John Wick, the man who just wanted to mourn his wife and live in peace, finds himself the target of an entire global underworld, all because of an unbreakable code and one impulsive act of vengeance. His story reminds us that even when seeking justice, the consequences can be profound and far-reaching. It's a testament to resilience, to fighting for what you believe in, even when the odds are stacked against you. John's unwavering resolve, despite losing everything, is both inspiring and a little terrifying. It makes you wonder about the choices we make, the debts we owe, and the true cost of peace. As John disappears into the bustling crowd, a ghost among the living, we're left to ponder the nature of fate and the endless fight for survival. This film, much like John himself, proves that some battles are never truly over, only paused, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. Thank you for joining me on this wild ride. Hopefully, it gives you some food for thought and a burning desire for Chapter 3. Today, we're diving headfirst back into the elegantly violent world of John Wick, specifically his second chapter, where he learns that retirement is apparently a myth, especially if you're good at problem-solving with extreme prejudice. We pick up with John still trying to reclaim his stolen Ford Mustang, crashing straight into a Russian chop shop. What follows is a whirlwind of brutal efficiency, a ballet of broken bones and silenced shots. He's not just getting his car back, he's tying up loose ends literally. Before you head off, if you're enjoying the kind of content I make, please consider liking and subscribing. No pressure, but it truly helps me keep the action coming. After his impromptu car demolition derby, John heads home for a well-deserved, if slightly bloody, unwind. He shares a tender moment with his new pit bull, which, let's be honest, is probably the only creature on Earth John shows consistent affection to. He gets his utterly mangled Mustang to Aurelio's shop for a little automotive CPR, because if there's one thing John Wick cares about as much as dogs, it's his ridiculously cool cars. While the car's getting patched up, John gets a call from Winston, the high table's charming but firm New York manager. Winston, with his usual blend of understated menace and sophisticated gravitas, reminds John that even though he thought he was out, the game has a very long memory. It's a subtle nod, a quiet warning that the world he left behind isn't quite done with him yet. The calm before the storm, if you will, but you can almost hear the thunder rumbling in the distance, and here's where John Wick's retirement plan completely unravels. Enter Santino D'Antonio, a stylish, smarmy Italian crime lord with the kind of smug confidence that just screams "punch me in the face." He shows up at John's seemingly impenetrable fortress, carrying an item that makes John Wick visibly uncomfortable, a blood oath marker. Remember those? Basically, it's an IOU, but instead of money, it's for an assassination and it's sealed with blood. Santino, with a smirk you just want to wipe off his face, reminds John that he helped him retire in the first place, and now it's time to cash in that favor. He wants John to assassinate his sister, Gianna D'Antonio, to claim her seat on the high table. John, being the reluctant legend he is, tries to refuse. He's done, he says. He's out. But Santino knows the rules. A marker cannot be refused. It's the ultimate gangster's dilemma, proving that even a legendary assassin can't escape his past, especially when it's wrapped up in arcane, blood-sworn paperwork. It's like your old college roommate suddenly showing up to demand you help them move a suspiciously heavy trunk, only, you know, with more bullets. John, bless his stubborn heart, still thinks no is an option. He slams the door on Santino, believing that an assassin's version of a firmly closed door is enough. Spoiler alert, it's not. Santino, clearly not a fan of rejection, decides to make a rather explosive point. He pulls out a grenade launcher, because who needs a doorbell when you have artillery? And absolutely levels John's newly renovated, pristine house. Poof, gone, just like John's hopes of a quiet life. This isn't just a house. It's John's last tangible link to his past life with his wife, Helen. It's a violation, an unforgivable act that pushes him right back into the darkness he's so desperately tried to escape. The visual of his home erupting in flames is brutal, a literal fiery metaphor for the destruction of his peace. Santino might as well have put a giant neon sign over the smoldering ruin saying, "Welcome back. Mr. Wick, we missed you. Because nothing says I really need your help like blowing up someone's sanctuary, right? With his house now looking like a very expensive bonfire, John, with a heavy heart and probably a really bad mood, heads to the Continental Hotel, seeking counsel from Winston. This isn't just any hotel. It's a neutral ground for assassins, where rules are absolute and even a spilled cocktail could start a global incident. Winston, ever the diplomat of death, calmly explains the harsh realities of the high table. The marker, he reiterates, is inviolable. It's not just a contract. It's a sacred bond, an unbreakable vow that supersedes all personal feelings, friendships, or even a nice afternoon nap. To refuse the marker isn't just breaking a rule. It's an insult to the entire institution, punishable by death. And trust me, the high table has a lot of ways to make your day spectacularly bad. Winston, almost with a tinge of regret, tells John he has no choice. He must honor the marker. It's a somber moment, a resignation to fate, as John stares into the abyss, knowing he's about to dive back into a world he desperately tried to leave behind. It's like being told you absolutely have to attend your ex's wedding, but instead of an awkward dance, it's a high-stakes hit. Resigned to his fate, John jet sets to Rome. Because if you're going to re-enter the world of high-stakes assassinations, you might as well do it in style. His first stop, the bespoke tailor, played with exquisite charm by Luca Mosca. Here, John doesn't just get a suit. He gets a custom-fitted, bullet-resistant piece of art, perfectly tailored for maximum flexibility and looking impossibly cool while dispensing lethal justice. It's the ultimate combination of fashion and function, proving that even a killer needs to look sharp. Next up, the sommelier, a deliciously subtle term for the guy who helps you select an arsenal of firearms as if you're pairing wine with dinner. Perhaps a robust AR-15 for the main course, sir? And a delicate Glock 17 for dessert? John selects an array of weapons, from handguns to assault rifles, each chosen with the precision of a chef selecting ingredients. Finally, he heads to the gunsmith to load up, the metallic clicks and clacks of bullets being fed into magazines, forming a macabre symphony. It's a ritualistic preparation, a transformation back into the Baba Yaga, the boogeyman who, let's be honest, looks way better in a suit than any other boogeyman we know. The moment of truth arrives. Amidst the opulent chaos of John D'Antonio's high society party, John navigates the throngs of well-dressed guests, a phantom among mortals, his presence an invisible threat. He eventually corners Jonna in her private bath, a scene dripping with tension and dark elegance. Jonna, surprisingly, isn't entirely shocked. She knows her brother, she knows the game, and she knows her fate. In a stunning display of defiant agency, she chooses her own exit, slitting her wrists in the bathtub. It's a powerful, almost tragic moment, robbing John of the full kill, but still leaving him with the grim task of fulfilling the marker. With a single, precise shot to her head, John completes his assignment. The sound of the silenced pistol is barely a whisper against the backdrop of the party below, a chilling contrast. It's a testament to the brutal, impersonal nature of this world. Even when a target takes their own life, the marker demands a definitive and from the contract killer. John fulfills his obligation, but you can feel the weight of it, the cost of these blood-sworn vows. This particular marker, it seems, tastes particularly bitter. Just when John thought he could make a clean getaway, because when does that ever happen in a John Wick film? He's ambushed by John's heavily armed security detail, led by the formidable Cassian. The setting? The ancient, claustrophobic Roman catacombs, a perfect stage for a brutal ballet of bullets and close-quarters combat. John navigates the labyrinthine tunnels, each twist and turn bringing a new wave of assailants. The thud of bodies hitting stone, the crack of suppressed gunfire echoing through centuries-old passages. It's a visceral, high-octane sequence. He moves with a predatory grace, utilizing every shadow and crevice, demonstrating his peerless skill. It's not just a fight, it's a desperate struggle for survival against overwhelming odds. Amidst the chaos, he also gets his first proper encounter with Santino's mute, deadly enforcer. She's got this sneering, "I'm better than you" vibe, which is just delightful. Their interaction, though silent on her part, is a chilling precursor to their eventual showdown. John's not just fighting for his life. He's fighting his way out of a literal underground tomb, which, thematically, is pretty on the nose for him. The catacombs escape leads directly into one of the film's most memorable confrontations, John versus Castian. Castian, John's chief bodyguard and a highly skilled assassin himself, is out for blood, seeking vengeance for his employer. Their initial clash in the train station is a whirlwind of grappling and gunfu, a masterclass in close-quarters combat. The sound of their bodies slamming against marble, the sharp crack of their suppressed pistols, it's a symphony of violence. But the real spectacle begins when they board a moving train, turning the confined space into a deadly arena. They fight with knives, with fists, using every inch of the train carriage as a weapon. The tactile sensation of their struggles, the precise, brutal choreography is breathtaking. It's not a fight to the death, but a fight for respect, for honor. Eventually, they both stumble into the sanctuary of the Continental, where the rules of no blood can be spilled are absolute. A truce is called, an uneasy peace, as both men recover in their rooms, knowing that their duel is merely postponed, not forgotten. It's like two rival chefs being forced to share the same kitchen, but with significantly more stab wounds and polite nods. Back in New York, John returns, looking less like a retired assassin and more like a human punch bag, which, given his recent travel plans, is entirely accurate. He's battered, bruised, but alive, which in this world is a victory in itself. However, his brief respite is shattered by Santino. Now firmly seated on the high table, Santino reveals his true, utterly despicable plan. He places a $7 million bounty on John's head. Talk about a thank you note. This isn't just a bounty. It's a global digital announcement, instantly turning every assassin, hitman, and generally shady character on Earth into a potential threat. The notification lights up on burner phones and hidden terminals everywhere, signaling open season on John Wick. It's a chilling moment, the realization that literally anyone, anywhere, could be coming for him. The sheer scale of the threat is staggering. John goes from an assassin seeking peace to a hunted man, a human target in a deadly game. It's like accidentally replying all to a work email, and suddenly everyone in the company has your phone number. Only instead of annoying texts, it's highly trained killers, with literally everyone gunning for him. John knows he can't go it alone. He dives into the underbelly of New York City, seeking out the enigmatic Bowery King. This guy is a fascinating character, ruling over a sprawling network of seemingly homeless people who are, in fact, his eyes and ears on the street, his army of informants. He's like a high-tech Fagin, but with better intel and less pickpocketing. John needs information, specifically where Santino D'Antonio is hiding. The Bowery King, with his distinct pigeons for messaging, agrees to help, but at a price. He provides John with a custom-made gun and 7 rounds, a poetic gesture mirroring the $7 million bounty. He's a man who understands leverage and a good narrative. This scene really fleshes out the hidden layers of this world, showing that even the destitute have a crucial role to play in the global assassin economy. It's a testament to John's network that he can still call in favors, even when he's the world's most wanted man. Plus, the pigeons are a nice, low-tech contrast to all the fancy assassin tech, aren't they? Efficient, environmentally friendly, and probably better at social media than most of us. Armed with his custom weapon, John descends into the New York subway system, a place usually reserved for questionable smells and even more questionable performers. But for John, it becomes another battleground. The bounty is out and the assassins are legion. What follows is a relentless, claustrophobic melee. John fights off numerous attackers, utilizing his trademark blend of martial arts and precision gunplay. The rhythmic rumble of the train cars, the clang of metal against metal, the sharp, almost clinical sounds of silenced gunshots. It's a symphony of urban warfare. A particularly intense moment involves a brutal knife fight in a crowded subway car, where John displays an almost surgical precision with blades. The close-ups of the struggle, the visceral sounds of punches landing and blades scraping, make you wince. It's a masterful display of choreography, turning everyday urban spaces into deadly proving grounds. The sheer number of threats he faces is astounding, confirming that $7 million makes a lot of people incredibly motivated. It's like Rush Hour, but instead of aggressively pushing for a seat, everyone's aggressively trying to end your life. Slightly less annoying, I guess. John, ever the man with a plan, tracks Santino to an art museum, where an exhibition is underway. Because where else would an arrogant crime lord hide than in plain sight, surrounded by expensive culture? The museum quickly transforms from a place of quiet contemplation into a dynamic killing zone. John navigates through the exhibits, using the environment to his advantage, turning statues and display cases into cover. The action here is less about stealth and more about sustained, frantic gunplay. The crackle of automatic fire, the shattering of glass, the grunt of impacts, it all blends into a chaotic crescendo. He faces wave after wave of Santino's elite guards, all trying to collect that sweet, sweet bounty. It's a beautifully shot sequence, the elegant architecture and artwork serving as a stark, ironic backdrop to the brutal violence unfolding. The film truly shines in these moments, where the choreography isn't just about fighting, but about using the entire space as part of the fight. It's like a high-stakes scavenger hunt, except the prize is your life and the clues are bullet holes and priceless artifacts. Hope the museum had good insurance. Amidst the museum's destruction, John finally has his proper showdown with Santino's stylishly mute enforcer. The setting is absolutely inspired, a hall of mirrors. This sequence is a visual masterpiece, playing with reflections and disorientation, making it incredibly difficult to tell what's real and what's just an illusion. John and Ars engage in a brutal, elegant knife fight, the metallic scraping of their blades, the sharp, quick jabs, and the visceral thud of bodies against glass. Ars, using sign language, delivers a chilling monologue of defiance and arrogance, even without a sound. She's quick, precise, and utterly ruthless. A true challenge for John, the shattered reflections multiply their struggle, making it feel like 1,000 versions of John Wick are fighting 1,000 versions of Ars. The tension is palpable, the sounds of their efforts raw and immediate. John, of course, eventually gains the upper hand, but not without earning some painful souvenirs. It's a testament to her skill that she pushes him to his limits, making him truly work for the victory. It's like a deadly funhouse, only instead of laughs, you get existential dread and multiple stab wounds. A great night out, really, after his grueling fight with Ars. John relentlessly pursues Santino through the bustling streets of New York. Santino, a coward at heart, quickly realizes his options are dwindling. Faced with the inevitable, he makes the ultimate power move for a villain who's run out of moves. He seeks sanctuary at the Continental Hotel. He knows the rules. No blood can be spilled on Continental grounds. It's a brilliant, infuriatingly smug play, effectively placing himself untouchable right under John's nose. The visual of Santino calmly strolling into the hotel, safe from immediate retribution, knowing John can't touch him, is designed to make your blood boil. He thinks he's won, that he's outsmarted the Baba Yaga himself. He even sits at the bar, sipping a drink, practically daring John to break the sacred rules. The palpable frustration emanating from John, who is now forced to stare at the man who destroyed his life, is intense. The silence in the Continental is deafening, punctuated only by the unspoken standoff between these two titans. It's the ultimate I dare you moment in a world built on unspoken rules and bloody consequences. Santino's smug, triumphant grin is just too much. John, watching him from across the Continental's elegant lobby, finally snaps. All the pain, the loss, the forced return to a life he hated, it boils over. With a grim, determined look that screams, "I'm about to do something very stupid and very satisfying," John pulls out his pistol. The sound of the single gunshot rings out, shattering the hallowed silence of the Continental, an act of defiance against the high table itself. Santino drops dead. John has broken the cardinal rule, no blood on Continental grounds. It's a moment of shocking liberation for John, but one pregnant with catastrophic consequences. The sheer audacity of the act, the willingness to sacrifice everything for a moment of personal justice, is what defines John Wick. The silence that follows the gunshot is heavy, filled with the collective gasp of every assassin in the room. They know, John knows, and Winston knows that this transgression cannot, will not, be ignored. He's chosen his path, and it's one of absolute, unyielding vengeance, consequences be damned. It's like cutting in line at Disney World, but instead of just dirty looks, you get excommunicated from the entire assassin club. The moment John pulled that trigger, he sealed his fate. Winston, flanked by high-table adjudicators, delivers the solemn verdict. John Wick is excommunicado. This isn't just being kicked out of the club. It's a global declaration that all services are revoked, all privileges gone, and the bounty on his head skyrockets to $14 million. Winston, despite a clear fondness for John, upholds the rules with unwavering resolve. He grants John a 1-hour head start, a courtesy born of their shared history, before the excommunicado takes full effect. Every assassin on Earth is notified simultaneously, their phones lighting up with the grim news. The world is now John's enemy, and there's no safe haven left. It's a truly terrifying concept, a man being hunted by every single person in his professional network, amplified by the highest authority in their dark world. Winston's final words to John, "Go," resonate with a mixture of warning and reluctant compassion. It's a poignant end to this chapter, leaving John utterly alone against an entire world of highly skilled killers. It's the ultimate "you're fired" notice, except instead of collecting unemployment, you collect bullet wounds with the clock ticking down. John and his ever-loyal dog disappear into the teeming streets of New York City. The city, usually a sanctuary of anonymity, transforms into a sprawling, inescapable hunting ground. Every face is a potential threat, every shadow a hiding place for an eager bounty hunter. The final images are chilling, people receiving the excommunicado notification on their phones, their casual strolls turning into focused, predatory gazes. The implication is clear, the entire world is now against John Wick. But even in this dire moment, John's resolve is unbroken. He strides with purpose, ready to face whatever comes next, his dog faithfully by his side. It's a powerful cliffhanger, leaving us with the exhilarating and terrifying promise of an even bigger, more relentless battle to come. This world, so meticulously built, now unleashes its full force upon its most formidable inhabitant. It makes you think, doesn't it? About the choices we make, the debts we incur, and how sometimes, even when you think you're free, the past has a way of dragging you back in. John Wick's story reminds us that true freedom often comes with the heaviest price, and sometimes, fighting for it means fighting everyone. And frankly, after watching John take on armies, I'd bet on him every single time. Here's to hoping he finds the peaceful retirement one day, maybe after just one more global conflict. Thanks for joining me on this wild ride, and I'll catch you next time for more action-packed breakdowns.